Okay, so the Maui wildfires, the death toll is growing by the day. I mean, it's not even worth mentioning the number of people who have died because the number is changing so quickly. Apparently, the search and rescue crews have only analyzed 3% of the burned area. So we have no idea how many people are going to die. Some of the estimates say it could be up to 500 people. God forbid, I pray that that is not accurate. But I think a lot of us are wondering what caused these wildfires, why this got out of control so quickly. I know there are a lot of theories, perhaps even conspiracy theories that are floating around online. To me, it's a little bit too early to make a definitive statement about what caused this. I think we can make a definitive statement about what did not cause this, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm, of course, talking about climate change. But one of the things that has been my biggest takeaway in watching this story unfold is that we can't trust the government to take care of us at all. They failed in the one responsibility that they had to the people of Hawaii, and that is their emergency warning system. I mean, this emergency warning system in Hawaii, you probably remember a couple of years ago, it notified people that they were going to be faced with some kind of ballistic missile. People were like, oh, we're getting nuked by Kim Jong-un. And they were like, oh, sorry, someone just hit the wrong button in the control center. This emergency system has notified the residents of Hawaii that they were facing impending disaster falsely twice in the last couple of years. And yet the one time that it really matters, the sirens didn't go off. They didn't warn people. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest, and the first Wednesday of every month, there was a test of these sirens to make sure that everyone knew what they sounded like, to make sure that all the sirens were operational. The first Wednesday of every month at noon, these sirens went off for 1 minute. And no, if you were inside or outside, you were driving, you were in the basement of a building, you could hear them. And it was necessary. And so then when you were used to the sound, so then when in the summer in Ohio it was tornadoes, when there was a tornado warning or a tornado watch, you would hear these sirens. And what would you do when you hear these sirens? You would immediately, this was when I was a kid, so before iPhones, you would immediately turn on your television and see what the information was. Is it a thunderstorm? Is it a tornado? How close is it to us? What do we need to do to prepare? This is a similar system to what Hawaii's system is supposed to do. I mean, emergency response officials in Hawaii right now are trying to minimize or belittle that system, saying, well, it's not a system that's really necessary. All it does is tell residents to look up more information. Well, yeah, that information is necessary. I mean, reportedly, we don't have confirmation of these reports. And again, I pray that they're not true. But reports coming from Hawaii is that a lot of the people who have been killed by these wildfires are children, because school has not yet started and parents were at work. They left their children home. They weren't warned at work of these sirens. The children at home weren't warned. And so they didn't even know their houses were on fire until they were on fire and they died. But imagine if there had been an emergency system that had gone off, if they had gotten a text message and their phone had beeped, if they had had these sirens, they could have turned on the television, or maybe their parents could have called them or come home from work and said, hey, maybe we need to evacuate. Let's look at the information and analyze this threat for ourselves. But it didn't work. And government officials, as they're always doing, are trying to slough off the responsibility as if it wasn't their responsibility. We cannot trust the government to take care of us.